I don't remember when the whispering started, which is funny, I guess, considering that the whisper keeps telling me it's here to help me remember. At first, I thought it was just stress, little echoes of my own thoughts bouncing around too late at night, sounding like someone else because the room was quiet and my brain was too loud. You know, that floaty space between almost asleep and almost awake, when your mind feels like it's holding a flashlight in a fog. It felt like that, except it kept happening while I was very, very awake. The first time I noticed it clearly, I was sitting exactly where I am now, back pressed into this old chair, lamp on my right, window behind the curtain breathing soft blue from the streetlights outside. I was scrolling my phone, not really reading anything, just letting my thumb move because silence felt heavier than noise. And then, just above the whisper of the curtain and the soft hum of the fridge down the hall, I heard my own voice, right next to my ear, say, "You missed a part." I froze so completely my skin hurt. I didn't even breathe. My body just held itself, like it was afraid that any movement would break something fragile and important. It wasn't just that I heard a voice. I've heard random sounds before. Houses sigh, pipes complain, neighbors exist. No, the terrifying part was that it sounded exactly like me. Same tone, same softness, same little breathy edge I get when I've been quiet for too long. But my mouth was closed. My jaw was clenched hard enough that my teeth ached. I checked the room anyway. Lamp, chair, curtain, desk. The framed photo on the wall, face turned away because I got tired of feeling watched by some stranger's smile. Nothing else. No one else. I even checked my phone's mic, thinking maybe I'd accidentally opened a recording or some video had autoplayed. Screen was dark. No apps running. I waited. No more whispers. I convinced myself it was just a thought that had gotten stuck somewhere between inside and outside. Maybe, I told myself, the brain sometimes just speaks too close to the ear. That night, I dreamed I was whispering into my own back. I woke up with a sore throat. The second time, I was in front of the mirror. That's when it became harder to lie to myself. I was getting ready to sleep, light dim, the kind of soft yellow that makes everything feel tender and too honest. I looked tired, but normal. No dark circles, no wild eyes, no obvious congratulations. You're losing it signs. I reached up to tuck a strand of hair behind my ear, and my reflection followed a heartbeat too late. Just one tiny delay, so small that if I'd blinked, I would have missed it. I would have sworn I imagined it, except I'm good at noticing tiny things. That's the problem. The whisper arrived like it had been waiting for that moment. It leaned into the corner of my hearing and said, very softly, "Don't pretend you didn't see that. I watched my reflection's lips. They didn't move. I felt the breath of the whisper, but there was no exhale leaving my body. My throat was tight. My chest was still. The air in the bathroom felt too warm, like it had been used too many times already. Say something, the whisper breathed. Just to check, I swallowed. My reflection swallowed half a second later. I whispered, barely. Hello. The mirror me whispered, hello, like she was imitating me, not being me. The whisper behind my ear, my other voice sighed. Close enough, she said. I turned. There was nothing. Of course there was nothing. If there had been something, it would be a normal kind of fear. Burglars, ghosts, whatever. Reality has scripts for those. You call someone, you run, you pray, you scream. But what do you do when the thing that's wrong is the timing of your own face? I started keeping notes after that. Not because I thought it would help exactly, but because I needed something to do other than sit and wait for myself to talk to me. The notebook is small and cheap, the kind with paper that feels too thin. On the first page, I wrote in neat letters, if I start imagining things, I want proof that I've always been like this. I don't know what I meant by that now. Some pages are filled with normal stuff, what I ate, what time I woke up, random thoughts. Then there are sections where the handwriting changes. Same general shape, but the pressure is different. The spacing shifts. The letters lean denser, more impatient, like someone writing while the pen is running out of ink and they're racing it. On one page, every line starts with, I heard her again today. I don't remember writing all of them. I remember deciding to write them. I remember thinking, if I catalog this, I'll see the pattern and it will stop being scary. But when I go back and read, sometimes there are entries that feel like spoilers for my own life. One of them describes the exact words the whisper will say 2 days later. Another one is written in a tone like I already accepted something I haven't even understood yet. One entry is just a series of questions. If I whisper now, can you hear me later? If you whisper later, am I hearing you now? If time is a straight line, why does my voice keep looping back around my ear? The whisper has opinions about the notebook too. That's how I know she isn't just a figment. She reacts to what I do. Yesterday, at least I think it was yesterday, time feels softer at the edges now. I was sitting on the floor with the notebook open in front of me. I'd drawn a timeline in the center of the page, with little arrows pointing backward and forward, labeling them me then, me now, me later, and eventually gave up and wrote me in the margin. That's when she spoke again. My not voice, my other voice, my future voice. You're drawing it wrong, she whispered. Her tone wasn't mocking. It was patient, tired. The way you talk to someone who keeps making the same mistake, and you're starting to worry for them instead of getting annoyed. I clenched my pen so hard the plastic clicked. "Show me, then," I whispered back, feeling ridiculous and strangely comforted at the same time. "If you're so much smarter than me, show me." There was a long silence. I thought she'd left. Then the pen moved in my hand, just slightly, like a twitch. I didn't let go. I didn't black out. I didn't feel possessed. My fingers just followed something. I watched as the line on the page curved into a spiral. She had me draw a tight circle, then another around it, and another, and another, until the whole page was full of rings. In the middle of the spiral, she made me write, "This is not time. This is attention." I stared at the words, breathing shallow. "Attention," I whispered. "Whose?" The answer came from inside my own chest, like my lungs had learned language. "Yours, mine, theirs, the one listening." I wanted to ask who the one listening was, but I didn't. Part of me already knew I wouldn't like the answer, and the rest of me was too busy trying to figure out what it meant that my hand had written mine and ours in a sentence that felt like it belonged to someone older than me. That night, I tested her. If the whisper was future me, or some version of me ahead on that spiral, then maybe I could send messages back too. I sat in front of the mirror again, lamp low, notebook on my lap. "Okay," I said softly, mouth barely moving. "If you're me, if you're really me, then I want proof. Tell me something I don't know yet." There was a faint rustle, like cloth brushing skin. No one moved. The air felt thick. Then I heard her, closer than ever, as if my own mouth had leaned to my ear. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "you'll try to record me. It won't work." I almost laughed. "Of course I'll try to record you," I murmured. "That's obvious." "Not that," she replied gently. "You'll try to prove I'm outside of you. That's why it won't work." I didn't sleep much. The next day, as promised, I opened a recording app on my phone, set it on the table, and sat in silence. I waited and waited. Nothing. No whisper. No voice. Just the faint sound of the fridge and a car passing outside. My own breathing started to sound suspicious. I checked the time. 20 minutes. I exhaled hard and stopped the recording. "Fine," I said into the empty room. "You win. Whatever." Then I heard it. Not from behind me this time, not near my ear. It came from the phone itself, from the direction of the little black mic hole. My voice, whispering, "Listen first." Hands shaking, I hit play. The recording was mostly silence, but not empty. If you've ever listened to a room, you know what I mean. Sounds you don't notice until they're trapped in replay. A faint electric buzz, the weight of air, and under that, something softer, very faint, like someone breathing through their teeth, a whisper trying to be heard from a long way away. It didn't sound like words. It sounded like intention. I turned the volume up until it distorted. The whisper didn't get clearer, just closer. "Say it again," I whispered to the phone, like an idiot. "If you're me, say something I'll only understand later." I don't know why I gave her that condition. Maybe to feel smarter. Maybe to feel safer. Maybe because deep down I already knew that everything she said seemed to make more sense after the fact. That night, it happened in my sleep, or in that place near sleep, where the bed feels too big and time feels like someone else's problem. I heard my own voice whisper, not by my ear, not from the phone, not from the mirror this time. It came from inside my head, but with the echo of distance behind it. "When you finally understand," she breathed, "I'll stop sounding like a whisper." I woke up with tears on my face. I don't remember crying. The worst part, I couldn't tell if I was crying because I was scared or because I believed her. Things got stranger after that. It wasn't just words anymore. It was timing. I'd reach for a glass I didn't remember placing there, and a whisper in the back of my mind would say, "Careful, you dropped that last time." And suddenly, my fingers would slow. I'd go to open a message on my phone and feel a soft, not yet, tug at my thoughts. I'd pause, wait. A new notification would appear, one that hadn't arrived yet when I first reached. It was like living with a very quiet, very patient backseat driver inside my skull. Not controlling the wheel, just tapping the window whenever I drifted too close to an edge she'd already driven off. The more I listened, the more my reality felt pre-edited. Conversations ended before they got messy. I avoided streets that later turned out to be blocked off. I stopped answering certain calls and found out days later that someone needed something I wasn't ready to give. Little things, small preventions, and every time there was that soft, familiar breath right on the edge of my attention, like a hand on my shoulder from behind. Not this one, not there, not yet. You would think that having a future version of yourself whispering shortcuts would feel like a blessing. It doesn't. It feels like cheating on a test you never agreed to take. It feels like walking through a hallway where every door you might have opened is already gently closed for you. One evening, I snapped. "Stop," I said aloud, startling myself with how sharp my voice sounded in the quiet. I was standing by the window, staring at my reflection in the glass instead of the mirror for once. Outside, the street was an arrangement of soft lights and blurred movement. Inside, everything was still. Just stop for one day. Don't warn me. Don't guide me. Don't correct me. Let me make a mistake. There was a long pause. Then, very gently, "You've already made it." My throat went cold. What did I do? Silence. the kind that doesn't feel like absence, but like someone thinking very carefully about whether you're ready for an answer. I pressed my fingertips against the glass. My reflection did the same, perfectly in sync this time. "What did I do?" I repeated, softer. The whisper came from everywhere and nowhere, like it was stitched into the room. "You kept listening," she said. "That was the mistake. But it's too late to undo it. That's why I'm soft. That's why I whisper. I'm trying not to drown you." I thought about all the little nudges, all the avoided moments, all the almost accidents, all the withheld words. "If I stop listening now," I whispered, "do you disappear?" There was the faintest hint of a sad smile in my own voice when she answered. "If you stop listening," she breathed, "you become me." And suddenly everything slotted into place with the horrible elegance of a puzzle you didn't know you were solving. The notebook with handwriting that felt like mine but not. The entries describing events I hadn't lived yet. The spiral labeled attention instead of time. The feeling that someone older, more tired, more informed was speaking through my own tone. I wasn't hearing a stranger. I wasn't receiving messages from some cosmic wherever. I was eavesdropping on my future self, looping back, trying to soften the edges of choices I haven't made yet. And every time I obeyed, every time I trusted the whisper, I walked one step closer to becoming the version of me that had to whisper in the first place. I was following my own footprints in reverse. "So what happens?" I asked quietly, "when I finally catch up to you?" The whisper didn't answer right away. I could feel her in me thinking. When she spoke, I could barely hear it. "Then," she said, "you'll understand why I started whispering. And you'll wish you hadn't." My chest hurt. I laughed a little too softly for anyone else to hear. "And after that?" I asked. "After I understand." A slow, fragile breath brushed the inside of my thoughts. "After that," she whispered, "you'll be the one trying to talk yourself out of it. You'll be the one sitting here, wondering if you should say something to the you that hasn't done it yet. And you will say something. You already did. That's what you're hearing now." I stood very still. "So this whole time, I've been haunted by myself." "No," she murmured. "You've been warned by yourself. Being haunted comes later." I don't know what I do. I don't know what choice I make. I don't know what moment is so heavy that future me felt the need to bleed backwards through time as a whisper, wrapping around my days like soft caution tape. All I know is that every time I ignore her, the world feels sharper, brighter, more dangerous. And every time I listen, it feels smaller, safer, and a little less like it belongs to me. Tonight, the room is quiet. The notebook is closed. The mirror is turned to face the wall. I'm talking anyway, in this soft little voice, not sure if I'm speaking for the first time or repeating myself again. Maybe you're listening to this later. Maybe you're me. Maybe you're just someone who found a recording that sounds too much like their own thoughts. I don't know. What I do know is this. If you ever hear a voice that sounds like yours, whispering from just a little ahead of you, telling you where not to step, try to decide quickly which scares you more. The idea that it's real, or the idea that it's not. I still haven't decided. And until I do, she keeps whispering.